No one expected this jungle to split open, but when it did, what appeared beneath the trees looked far too massive to belong there. From the edge, it didn't feel like a ruin. It felt like the jungle had been hiding an entire buried world underneath it, and the deeper they looked, the stranger it became. Because this wasn't one structure, it was level after level of massive built stone. What made it worse was how new it looked, like the jungle hadn't slowly uncovered it, something had ripped the ground open recently. Then came the first real shock, because these stones weren't random collapse, they were cut, aligned, and fitted with deliberate precision. But the visible city wasn't even the full problem, because some stairways kept going down, beneath levels nobody could even see clearly. Openings were everywhere, some narrow, some towering, and none of them made immediate sense. It looked designed for something very specific. Standing beside it, the team looked microscopic, and that's when the discovery stopped feeling exciting and started feeling deeply, seriously wrong. Because once you understand how huge this place is, the obvious question hits instantly. How did something this enormous stay hidden here? And that's where this turns unbelievable. Because the first scans suggested the city didn't end here. It continued much deeper underground. The first measurements came back almost immediately, and they didn't make sense, because the scale of this structure was far beyond expected limits. What they were looking at wasn't just large, it was enormous, far larger than anything previously recorded in this region or environment. But the real problem wasn't width, it was depth, because scans showed the structure continued far below what anyone could physically see. And instead of empty space beneath, the scans revealed more structures, tightly packed, like the entire underground was filled with construction. Then came something even stranger. Because the layout wasn't random, it followed repeating patterns, suggesting a controlled and deliberate design. Long corridors ran in straight lines through the structure, ignoring natural terrain, as if they had been carved with precision instead of adapting. But what they didn't find was just as important, because there were no tools, no pottery, nothing that suggested everyday life existed here. Even more confusing, the structure itself was preserved far better than the surrounding earth, almost like it had resisted natural decay entirely. Above ground, the jungle was chaotic and uncontrolled, but below, everything was ordered, structured, and built with intention. And just when they thought they understood the scale, deeper scans revealed something even more unsettling waiting below. Then they found something that changed everything, because beneath the city were tunnels stretching far beyond what anyone expected. These tunnels weren't curved or irregular, they ran in straight lines, ignoring terrain, as if they were designed with a level of precision rarely seen. And they didn't just go in one direction, they branched out, forming a network that extended far beyond the main structure. No one could see where most of them ended, because beyond a certain distance, the tunnels disappeared completely into unexplored darkness. Some tunnels didn't just move outward, they dropped downward, connecting levels far below the city that hadn't been seen before. The deeper sections were reinforced with massive supports, suggesting whoever built this understood how to keep underground spaces stable over long periods. Some shafts appeared to move air through the structure, meaning the system wasn't just built underground, it was designed to function there. They also found water channels carved directly into the stone, guiding flow through the system, showing control over underground conditions. Taken together, it became clear this wasn't a collection of structures, it was a complete engineered system working as one. And once they realized how far the tunnels extended, the discovery stopped being local and started becoming something much larger.
As they tracked the tunnels further, they realized something unexpected, because some of them extended far beyond the jungle itself. What stood out wasn't just their length, it was their direction, because they followed precise lines instead of natural paths shaped by terrain. Some of these lines even pointed toward distant landmarks, suggesting the system wasn't isolated, but connected to places far beyond the jungle. That possibility changed everything, because if these tunnels connected to other structures, then this wasn't just one site, it was a network. But no one knew where most of them ended, because beyond a certain point, the tunnels disappeared from every scan. Even within the system itself, there were sections that hadn't been explored yet, areas too deep or unstable to safely reach. What made this stranger was the consistency, because even far from the city, the tunnels followed the exact same construction pattern. That level of consistency suggested something larger, because it implied the entire system was planned from a central design. And when they compared what had been mapped to what remained unknown, it became clear most of the system was still hidden. Which raised a final question. If this is only a small part, then how far does the full system really extend? At this point, the biggest question wasn't what it was, but how it was built, because the scale alone seemed beyond practical human effort. Even if construction had been continuous, estimates suggested it would take far longer than any known civilization existed in this region. And even with large populations, the number of workers required would be enormous, far beyond what the jungle environment could realistically support. Building something like this beneath a dense jungle would require clearing, stability, and planning on a scale never recorded in history. The precision of the stonework didn't match expected tools, suggesting techniques or knowledge that don't align with what we believe existed. Even more surprising, the structure had survived intact while surrounding earth had degraded, suggesting durability beyond normal construction methods. Taken together, the systems suggested advanced engineering, not random building, meaning this was designed as a functioning underground environment. But despite all that complexity, its purpose remained unclear, because none of these systems pointed to simple living or storage. One possibility is that this represents knowledge lost to time, something that existed before recorded history but disappeared completely. But as new data continued coming in, it became clear this discovery was about to challenge far more than just history. As they examined the structure closely, they noticed something unusual, because not all the stone matched, suggesting different phases of construction. The structure wasn't built all at once, it appeared to grow over time, with new layers added beneath older ones. Strangely, deeper levels looked older but more advanced, as if whoever built this improved their methods the further they went. Vertical shafts connected the layers, perfectly aligned, suggesting movement between levels had been planned from the very beginning. Some of these shafts moved air through the system, meaning the builders understood how to keep underground spaces stable and breathable. Water channels ran through the structure, carefully carved to control flow, preventing flooding and maintaining balance underground. All these systems worked together, showing this wasn't random construction, it was designed as a complete underground environment. Yet none of it clearly pointed to a purpose, because there were no signs of living, storage, or anything expected from a city. And the system didn't stop at the main structure, it extended outward, suggesting this was only the center of something larger. Which raised a new question. If this is only the center, then how much more of it still remains hidden? As they followed the tunnels further, they realized something unexpected, because some extended far beyond the jungle, continuing for incredible distances underground. What stood out wasn't just distance, it was direction, because these tunnels followed precise lines instead of adapting to natural terrain. Some paths even pointed toward distant landmarks, suggesting this system was connected to locations far beyond the jungle itself. That possibility changed everything, because if these tunnels connect to other structures, then this isn't just one site, it's part of a network. But no one knew where most of them ended, because beyond a certain point, the tunnels disappeared completely from every scan. Even inside the system, there were branches that hadn't been explored yet, sections too deep or unstable to safely reach. What made this even stranger was consistency, because even far from the main structure, the tunnels followed the exact same design pattern. That level of precision suggested centralized planning, meaning the entire system may have been designed as one project from the start. And when they compared mapped areas to what remained unknown, it became clear most of the system was still undiscovered, which raised a final question for this stage. If this is only part of the system, then how far does it really extend? At this point, the question shifted again, because even modern teams would struggle to build something this large beneath the ground.
When they estimated construction time, the numbers didn't align because it would require more time than any known civilization existed here. Even with thousands of workers, the scale suggested something far beyond normal human effort, especially in a jungle environment this difficult. The environment made it worse because building beneath dense jungle would require planning and stability never recorded in any historical construction. The precision of the stonework didn't match expected tools, suggesting techniques or knowledge that don't align with what we believe existed. One possibility is that this represents knowledge we've lost, a level of engineering that existed long ago but disappeared completely. Another possibility is harder to accept, that whoever built this may not fit into the history we currently understand at all. And if the entire system was intentionally buried, then the question shifts again, because it suggests the builders wanted it hidden. Which brings everything back to that sealed section, because if something was meant to stay hidden, opening it could change everything. And that's where this stops being a discovery and starts becoming something much bigger than anyone expected. At this point, it was clear this wasn't just a local discovery. It had implications that stretched far beyond this jungle. When everything is viewed together, the city, tunnels, and deeper levels form one complete system built with purpose. Nothing about it suggests randomness. Every part feels intentional, meaning this wasn't something that developed naturally over time. But despite everything uncovered, one question remains unanswered, because nobody knows what the system was actually built to do. What's been discovered may be a fraction, because most of the system still lies beyond what has been explored, which means the most important part may still be hidden behind a barrier that was never meant to be opened. And the decision to go further isn't simple, because opening something intentionally sealed could reveal more than anyone is ready for. Because if something like this exists here, it raises the possibility that similar systems could exist elsewhere beneath the surface. And that leads to the most important question, not what we've found, but what we've missed for so long. Because if something this massive can remain hidden beneath us, then the real question is how much more is still waiting. If you enjoy real history that feels unreal, subscribe and like the video so you don't miss the next story. Thank you.